Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. On this part of the tutorial, we are going to create the login and registration feature of our API. So we're going to create the controller that we're going to use to handle the registration and login. So first, let me show you the folder where all controllers have been located inside the Laravel project. So to see the controllers, you have to open the app directory, the HTTP directory, then open the controllers. Inside here is where all your controllers that are going to create, so it's going to reside. So on this folder, I'm going to create the auth controller, and I want the auth controller to be inside an API directory. Then inside the API directory, I also have the auth directory where I also want all the controller that has to do with authentication to also reside. So I'm going to keep it there. So to create the controller inside those directory, I have to run this command php artisan make controller. Remember, I'm saving it inside the API. Then inside the API, I have another folder called the auth. Then inside it, I have my controller, which is the auth controller. Then I press enter. As you can see, it has been created, and inside it you have this. So inside the auth controller, I'm going to be having the login method and the registration method. So let me quickly create the two methods. This one is going to be login method. Inside it, and create login. Next, I'm going to have the registration method. And I create a function register method. So these are the two methods that we need for now. So next we are going to run migration, but before we do that, let's quickly take a look at the Laravel migration files. So to see the migration file, you have to open the database folder. Then inside it you have a migrations directory, and inside it you'll be able to see all the migrations that is available for you. You can also create your own migrations. So for now, we are going to be using the default one that I have already created for us. So this is a users table. So when we run the migration, it's going to create all this table for us. So these are the basic things that we need for now on the users table. So let's quickly run the migration so that we can work on the register method. So to run the migration, you have to type this command with me, php. So let me clear this off first. php artisan migrate. Okay, the migrations have been, all the tables have been created. So let's quickly check the database and see if the tables have been created. As you can see, all the tables are here. So let's quickly check the users table. On the users table, we have name, email, and password, then remember token, and the rest of them. So on registration, we are going to be collecting name, email, and password. So let's quickly do that. So to do that, first we are going to validate the user's input. In order to follow the Laravel solid principle, we have to create a form request class that will handle the validations for us on the registration method. So to create a form request class, we're going to head to our terminal again. Let's clear this up and run this command with me, php artisan make request. Then we're going to call it registration request. Then hit enter, and it has been created. And to see the form request class, you're going to see it inside the app folder. Inside the app folder, you open your HTTP folder. Inside the HTTP folder, you're able to see the request folder, and inside it, these are registration requests. So for us allow validation or authorize validation on this request, you're going to turn this to true. And inside the rules, this is where we're going to declare all our rules for validation. So name, we're going to make name to be required, and it should have a minimum of 3 characters, 2 characters, and it should be a string. Then let's validate the email. Email should be required, should be an email with filter. This way, the filter will ensure that we are collecting an email. Then we have the password. Which should be required too. And should be a string. And should have a minimum value of 6. And should also have the confirm. So with the confirm attributes that you are putting on the form validation, it's going to check for the second password confirmation, like where you put the password and it tells you confirm password. So that's what is going to happen here. So we're going to also have the password confirmation field there. Let's go over to our auth controller to make use of the registration request class. So to make use of the registration request class, you have to inject it on the method. So registration request. So make sure you also import it here while using it. So on the request variable. So with this, we'll be able to validate the user input. So let's quickly go to our route to create the endpoint that we need for this registration. So to create the endpoint for this registration, let me close this off. I'll head over to our route directory. So our route directory, we see an api.php file. So inside here, we'll be able to create our own route or an endpoint for the API. So using the route class. So we're going to use the post method. On the post method, we're able to see auth/register. And we have our auth controller class, which will also be imported here. Inside the auth controller, we have a register method, and that's it. We save it. So once a user hit on this auth/register, we'll be able to hit this method here. So let me also save this one here. So to test our endpoint, I'll be using an extension on VS Code, which is Thunder Client. So Thunder Client, be able to test our API. So let's open the Thunder Client. To install Thunder Client, you have to go to extensions. When you go to extensions, search for Thunder Client, and you'll see it here. So that's it. So let's open the Thunder Client back. So let's create a new request, which will be, first let's start our project. So to start our project, you have to run this command with me: php artisan serve. This will start the project at port 8001. So there's it. So let's head over to Thunder Client again. So here we are going to access remember our endpoint, which is auth/register. So this is the endpoint HTTP, then localhost, which is using the port 8001, then API. By default, Laravel will append this API on any API route, so you use it. Then after the API, you have another prefix, which is the auth. Then inside it, you have register, and the method we are using is the post method. So let's try to hit it and see what we have. Yeah, you see method not allowed. Check headers. Let's accept JSON. Set it again. Okay, we are getting 4 or 5 method not allowed. Okay, let's check what's actually wrong. I think the thing is running validation. I think it might be from this accept. So let's uncheck this accept to see if this is validating. So let's hit the send again. Okay, as you can see, the validation is working. So say name field is required, the image field is required, the password field is required. So to put the fields, you have to go to the body and put the form fields that we need, which is the name and the email, then password. So let's try and put these fields. Wisdom, yeah, wisdom at gmail.com. Then password. Let's hit send again. Now, as you can see, it's looking for the password confirmation too, which you should also pass. Password confirmation. You should be password too. And that's it. Is okay. So let's go to the auth controller and write the logic to save the user's record. So to create the user record, we're going to use this user model, then create. Then we are going to pass the request not validated method. So if we do this, this is not going to work. So we have to allow mass assign on the user model. So let's go to the user model. Let's remove all this. Guided. So this is going to allow mass assigned on the user model. So let's go to the. So after creating this, so we're going to check if this was created, if user was created. Okay, after creating the user, I will log the user in, then return JWT access token. So this is what I will do. There's a token. Once you log the user in like this, the token will be created. So using the auth, login, then the user that was created, and this is it. So next I'm going to create a method which will return the access token for us. So so why I'm creating this method is that we're going to be using this method in 2 places, which is the register and the login. So instead of writing this code twice, I decided to write it once on this method so that I'll be able to use it on register and login method. So I'll call it response with token, which will accept token and the user that is logged in. So this return response JSON. The status is going to be success. Access token. It's going to be token. Then the type is going to be a Then we're going to have the user which was logged in. I think this is all we need for now. So after logging the user in, we're going to return this response, the token. You have the token and the user passed. So if something happened while creating user, let's return an error message. Status failed message and error occurred by trying to create user. And it's going to be 500 status code. So let's try this out and see what we have. So let's hit the endpoint again. Okay, as you can see, we have it here. So we have the user model, we have the user object, and we have the access token. So with this access token, we'll be able to access any authenticated route on this platform. So that's for registration. So let's head over to the login and also try to log in with these credentials that we have here. So for login, we are also going to run validations for login. So to run validation, we're also going to create a phone request too. Let me clear this up. Okay. PHP artisan make request, login request. So let's open up the request. The rise is going to be true. Then going to validate the email. Make sure it's required. Then email filter. And lastly, you have the password, which is required. It should be a string. So I forgot some validation. I forgot the validation on the registration for request. So I'm supposed to make this email to be unique because it's going to be unique. Users. Okay, adding this unique users attribute will restrict users from registering with the same email twice. Let's head over to our login, our auth. Sorry, let's head over to this. Close this thing off. Let's go back to our auth controller again. So on this login, we are going to pass in the login request class. Request. Okay, after the validation, which we already have on our login request class, we try to log in the user. So if the user is logged in successfully, it's going to create an access token for us. So we're going to store that token inside this variable. So to try logging in the user, you have to use the auth class with the attempt method. Then you pass in the request. Remember, when the validation have been done, you are going to receive an array of the validated inputs, which is on these cases, which is going to be the email and the password. So which we use to now try to log the user in. Okay, next we're going to now write an if statement to check if the token was created successfully. If token was created, we are going to return this. Remember, we already have response with token, so then you're going to now pass the token, then with the authenticated user. But if the token was not created successfully, we're going to return an error message, which is going to be JSON. The status of failed, and the message of valid credentials. The status code of 41. So this is what we have. So let's try this out. Let's go back to our Thunder client. So here, let's rename this to be register endpoint. Let's create another request. Let's copy this, paste it here for the new request, which will be login. First, let's confirm we already created the endpoint. Okay, we have not done that, so let's create the endpoint. I'm going to copy and duplicate this. Then this one will be login, which will access the login method instead of the auth controller, and it's going to use the post method. That's it. So let's go back to our login. So on the header, we're going to also remove this. Let me remove this entirely. Let me close this down. Then accept in JSON. Then on the body, let's try to, we're going to put the form fields, which is email and password, and then send. Okay, sorry, we're using the get method. You're supposed to use the post method. Let's send again. As you can see, the validation works. The email field is required and the password field is required. So let's try logging in with the wrong password and email. Maybe let me say .com. Then on the password, let me type it wrongly. So when I hit, as you can see, it said invalid credentials because the password is not correct and it's not what we created when we register the user. So let's put in the correct password and see what we're going to have. There is our password. As you can see, it has logged the user in and the token has been created. So there is it for the login and registration, and we are going to stop here for this chapter. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and also turn on the notification bell icon to get notified anytime I post any videos on my channel. See you in the next video.